But this is how to use Zoho on your desktop computer, which is a little easier and has more features. So we're going to go to Zoho Expense. If you don't already, I suggest bookmarking the page. I'm going to sign in, and I'm going to sign in from one of your accounts so you see it from your perspective. Shanda's email is already in there, password. So we're going to log in. So here's your dashboard. This is where you can view your travel policy, which has all the rules from Northwest. You can create a new expense. There's no need to ever create a new report. I've already created those for you, unless after the trip you miss something in 1 week that you've already submitted and been approved. You can add a second report through there. You can also drag your receipts in here by, let's say from my desktop, I can drag a file in there and it will upload the photo of the receipt. I can click on it and enter in my expense from the dashboard. I also can see a summary of how much you've spent and your unreported expenses, how much is from your card, and any reports that are most recent. So we're going to go through submitting an expense. So these are old expenses from last year. You just have to ignore them. There's no way to archive those. We're going to click New. And you can do regular one expense at a time, or you can do bulk add expenses. So I'm going to add a photo. And change the date. This looks like it was July 10th. It's very important that the date match the receipt. To the merchant, this is a cafe called Cafe. Category, this is definitely food, and these categories match the categories in your budget. And a few of you might have slightly different ones depending on your budget and where you're going. And then I'm going to put the amount. This is in a different currency, so I'm going to change the currency, which I don't have the currency on here that this is in, but let's say it's Belize dollar, and it was 99.330. And this also gives you the exchange rate. If you happen to know your exchange rate is different than what it is on here, you can change that. So if you know that this exchange rate happens to be when you pulled out your money only 10 cents on the dollar, then you can switch that. And then you add your description. This is lunch for team. So you need to say what it was and who it was for. And then add it to a report. Let's say this is week 1. And then you'll click save. If you have multiple photos, like if I wanted this to be a photo of just the pink receipt and just the white receipt, I could attach more photos. Now, if I wanted to itemize this, let's say this is a meal for the team, but also a meal for a host, and that goes under a different category, I would then click itemize, add another line, change this to gifts and honorarium. This is lunch for host, and make sure you put their name. Say his name was Dave. And if the total amount was this amount, change it to have so that it totals the same amount. Obviously I did that wrong, but then you're going to save it and it will now be on your report. Once it's saved, this is what it'll look like. You can always change the report it's on until you submit that report. Here's how to bulk add some expenses. So you go to Expenses, you click New, and then click on the tab Bulk Add Expenses. Here you can add several expenses at once. So let's say you have a few in January. This was Second Mount Enterprise, ground transportation, Mexican pesos. Gives you the exchange rate still, and you can still edit that if you know that you pulled out money at a certain exchange rate. Use that rate. So let's say we have 990 Mexican pesos. You never need to click reimbursable. And then description, gas for team van, and then you can attach a receipt. So a really easy way is to take all your receipt photos, upload them to your computer, and just add them one by one, and then you can continue to add them. When you are finished, you just click Save, and then let me add a second one. Just going to click Random Things. So you do a category again, the amount, let's say this is in US dollars, and this was snacks for a team. Just going to upload the same. I'll upload a different picture this time. And if you want to delete it, you can delete it. We're going to hit Save. And it now saves those two expenses. Now, those expenses are not added to reports yet. If you go to your reports, you'll see there's no expenses added there. So you need to go to your receipt inbox, select them, and click Add to Report. And then you go to the appropriate week of the report you need to add it to. Click the week to add it. And now those have been added to your report. To submit a report, start in your dashboard, go to Reports, select the report you'd like to submit. Reports are due every Saturday. Make sure to check over that everything's right, and then click Submit. We'll say that's me. Now, once you've submitted it, if you realize you missed something, you can recall it, but only before I've already approved it. We're going to look at submitting a report again, but this time when there are mistakes. So this one it'll show you up here that there's an expense policy violation. So look down to see where the little red one is, and it says this expense requires a receipt. So make sure you attach a receipt to every expense. Oh, that was me. Just going to drag one from my desktop. Now that the receipt has been submitted, you can add a comment to say, I added a receipt now. If I asked you for one, which I didn't on here, so there's no need to. But that's how you leave comments. Then you can submit the report. And I'm on my... Now, I'm going to change accounts. And here's the report that I just submitted to myself. I can approve or reject your reports. So if I'm going through and I see this receipt does not match the amount did you forget a tip? Which is a common occurrence. So I might leave a comment and then I might reject the report because there's a problem on there. I can't approve the whole report. So say check your comments, and this will send the report back to you. Now here in my reports, I see that this one has been rejected and this one has been approved. Once a report's approved, you don't need to touch it anymore. So I'm going to go in here and see why it was rejected. It said check your comments. And sometimes I'll leave multiple comments if there's multiple problems. I'll look at the comment and I'll see, no, I put the wrong receipt photo, fixed now. So I'll send that to answer the question and I will fix it by uploading a different photo. I can delete this one and change the photo for another one. So now that I've fixed my mistake, I'm going to resubmit the report. Submit. And that sends it back to me or Ramona to look over it and either approve or reject it again.